You know, for years, millions of people have been tapping a button on their phones, mining Pi, all part of this massive social experiment. But a recent, absolutely shocking announcement signals that the experiment is pretty much over. Pi Network is making a huge, bold move, from a community project to a serious economic player. So let's dive in and break down what this major shift really truly means.
It all kicked off with this, a bombshell of an announcement that sent some serious shockwaves through the entire Pi community. The project just unveiled a brand new stablecoin. But look, this was not just another digital token. Nope, it came with this massive, super symbolic value that signals a complete and total transformation for the future of Pi.
And that really brings us to the central question we're digging into today. Is this the end of that speculative dream that's been fueling the community for years? And are we seeing the real beginning of a functional, actual, real-world digital economy? Let's unpack the strategy.
Okay, first things first, we have to understand the heart of this transformation, this new stablecoin. It's not just another token to trade. This is a strategic move, and it's designed to turn a long-held community myth into a powerful, practical tool for the economy.
And there's the number that got everyone talking. $314,159. Now, this value isn't just random, not at all. It's a direct and very clever nod to the mathematical constant pi. But even more importantly, it's their way of honoring the community's long-held dream of a global consensus value, or GCV, basically a price that the community itself has been rallying around, believing the coin should be worth.
So why even introduce a stablecoin? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple: stability. See, unlike super volatile cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, a stablecoin is built to hold a steady price. And that is absolutely crucial if you want to build a real economy. Think about it. Merchants need to accept payments without waking up and fearing that the value has crashed overnight. This thing is the bridge between the wild world of crypto and everyday shopping.
Okay, so let's be crystal clear on this, because this is probably the most important distinction. The Pi you've been mining on your phone is not worth $314,159. That original Pi coin is going to have a variable value, one that's decided by supply and demand once it hits the open market. This new stablecoin, though, is a totally separate thing with a fixed value. It's designed to be the stable anchor for the whole economy. So you've got two tokens with two very, very different jobs.
Of course, an idea this huge needs some serious technical firepower to back it up. So let's take a look at the new infrastructure that's making all of this possible. So the journey started way back in 2019 with mobile mining, right? But the real game changer is scheduled for February 2025, the launch of the Open Mainnet. This is what's going to connect the Pi blockchain to the wider internet and to other blockchains for the very first time. And that paves the way for the next critical piece of the puzzle, a fully rolled out decentralized exchange.
So here's how all these pieces are designed to fit together perfectly. The Open Mainnet, that's what connects Pi to the outside world. The new DEX, or Decentralized Exchange, lets users trade directly with each other, no middleman. And that high-value stablecoin, that provides the liquidity, which is just a fancy way of saying a big pool of money, to make sure that trades on the DEX happen fast and at fair, stable prices.
And this brings us right to the core economic strategy, which honestly might be the most innovative part of this whole plan: the dual token system. It's designed to do something that's notoriously difficult in the crypto world: balance that crazy speculative growth with everyday, usable stability.
So these two tokens have totally different jobs. On one hand, you have the Pi coin you've mined. That's a growth asset. Its value is going to go up and down with the market, offering a shot at speculation and long-term gains. But on the other hand, you have the Pi stablecoin, and that's the economic anchor. Its fixed value gives you the predictability you need for daily commerce.
When you really step back and look at it, this dual token system is a really clever compromise. It honors the community's big GCV dream by literally baking it into the stablecoin, while still letting the original mined Pi coin find its own true value on the open market. It's a pretty smart way to balance the project's big vision with the real-world demands of an actual economy.
But okay, that's all theory. Is any of this actually working in the real world? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at India, which has become this massive, incredible case study for how a focus on real utility can drive insane adoption. What is happening in India is just fascinating to watch. The story there isn't about people trying to speculate and get rich quick. Not at all. Instead, the incredible growth is being fueled by people using Pi for practical, everyday things.
The growth in India really comes down to a few key things. People are actively spending their Pi on real stuff, goods and services, from groceries to electronics. And that marks a really critical shift, from just hoarding tokens to actually using them in what you'd call a circular economy, where Pi is spent, received by a merchant, and then spent again. That right there is how you build real, sustainable, long-term value, not just temporary hype.
Okay, but as exciting as all of this sounds, we have to stay grounded. Let's be real. The road ahead for Pi Network is absolutely filled with significant hurdles that could make or break this entire vision.
So let's be clear about the challenges. First, you've got to navigate the global maze of crypto regulations. That is a monumental task. Second, the sheer technical complexity of running a dual token system securely and at this scale, it just can't be understated. And maybe most important of all, they have to convince merchants and developers outside of the core community to actually build on the platform. And always remember, the value of that original Pi coin could be extremely volatile once it finally hits the open market.
So what's the bottom line here? Pi Network is at a major crossroads. After years of building this massive community, it's making a bold, calculated leap into the real economy. The tools are there, the strategy is clever, but now execution is everything. The project is undeniably making that tough transition, moving from a shared community dream into a functional digital economy. The only question left is, will it succeed?